5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Monday. Welcome to The Point of View. I'm your host, DE80, a.k.a. Mike D, a.k.a. 13th Wonder of the World, Mike Deezy, whatever alias you want to call me, I'm here. How y'all doing on this Monday? Excuse me, I was drinking a little water. Today is March the 31st, 2025, and it is 11 a.m. We're about to start off the noon in a minute. And I'm hoping you guys had a great weekend. I'm hoping that you guys having a great day today. Shout out to the Point Place family. Shout out to Bobby Reeves. I love you, man. I think I might have saw you yesterday, man. I don't know if that was you or not, but I think I saw you on my side of town. I don't know. Maybe I missed you. But I think I saw you yesterday. I don't know. I might have did. I might have not saw you. I don't know. But I think I did see you yesterday. I probably did see you yesterday. But if I did and I missed you, my bad. Shout out to M Breezy. Shout out to Naya, my sister. I love all y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to The Point of View on the YouTube app as well as the Podbean app as well, man. Like I said, man, real soon we're going to be doing the semi-cast. I'm going to try to probably do it on Instagram Live, on the Instagram app with the boys. Try to see if we can do a semi-cast when the playoffs get started. We can talk about the playoffs, talk about the teams that are, going to be in the play-in as well as the teams that are going to play in the first round of playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, first thing I want to talk about, because I got a couple things I want to talk about. I'm also sad about something, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. NBA last night, Dylan Brooks got ejected for some stupidity, which I thought he shouldn't have got ejected for. It was a real crazy situation to see that happen to Dylan Brooks. I don't think Dylan Brooks should have been ejected from the game behind it. These officials need to stop with this foolishness. They need to take before they just whistle happy. They need to take a break, evaluate the situation, and then, call your call. Well, make sure you evaluate it first before you sit there and just eject somebody from a game. Rockets went on and just destroyed Phoenix. Let me tell y'all something. And I want y'all to understand what I'm about to tell y'all. Let me tell y'all something I'm about to tell y'all. Pertaining to the Phoenix Suns. I too much didn't watch First Take today because I knew I was going to talk about some of the same subjects that they were talking about on First Take. Then I'm going to do a special Women's Day, Women's Month to a special woman who I think is very important, and no disrespect to any of the ladies. They all get respect for this month. But it's one woman that I've watched and admired what she's done. Let me talk about the Phoenix Suns. It is legitimately serious, and it's a legitimate take to say that the Phoenix Suns are probably not going to make the playoffs. They're probably not going to get in the play-in. That's the first thing. The second thing is the team looks like they are out of bounds. And when I say out of bounds, they're showing no heart on the court, folks. I think they're just there to fill out the season, finish up the season, and go home. Kevin Durant has played absolutely phenomenal this year. Kevin Durant has been durable for the last 2 years in the NBA. Kevin Durant has wasted his time and his talent playing in Phoenix. Listen to what I'm telling you. Mike Budenholzer is one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game of basketball. He's a former NBA coach champion. He coached the Milwaukee Bucks to the championship in 2021 when they beat the same Phoenix Suns that he's coaching. Last year, Frank Vogel was their coach, and they let Frank Vogel go because guess what? He couldn't get through to these guys. So guess what now is happening? The same stuff is happening again this year with the same three core players you have on your team. Bradley Beal, who has a no-trade clause. Devin Booker is still a star, even though he has not been up to par this year because he's been injured and his game has been up and down. Kevin Durant has been the only insane thing that they've had in Phoenix this year. Bo was playing great. At one period, Nick Richards has started stepping up. Tyus Jones was all right. But this Phoenix team it's over for them this year. And it does not have nothing to do with the injuries, folks. Let me also say that as well. Let me stop my phone from vibrating while I'm doing a point of view. Okay. It has nothing to do. Injuries are a part of it. But the consistency, and the chemistry is not there in Phoenix. And that's why they're not winning like they're supposed to. And this is a shame because they're one of the most disappointing teams in the NBA. I'll give you two teams, actually three teams that are disappointing. The Phoenix Suns is one. The Philadelphia 76ers is two. And you'll never guess who's number three. Number three. And they're starting to ride the wave now because of what Ant-Man and what Julius Randle's trying to do, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Minnesota Timberwolves should be up higher than what they are in the playoff push. But they're starting to show their strides a little bit, and I'll get into the Minnesota-Detroit fight and all that as well in a little bit. This is what I'm saying about Phoenix. They've got to bust that team up. They've got to figure out what they're going to do with Kevin Durant. They've got to figure out, are they going to keep Bradley Beal? Bradley Beal has a no-trade clause. If I am Phoenix organization, I am constantly going to be asking him, you need to let go of this no-trade clause so that you can be traded to another team. Because I think he's still under contract next year. Devin Booker's not going anywhere. I don't think Devin Booker's going to leave Phoenix unless they decide to do what they did with Luka. If you trade him, you're going to have to trade him for a star. That's the only way that works. If you trade Devin Booker out of Phoenix, you're going to have to trade Devin Booker for a star. Unless somebody like a Giannis is coming there or somebody like that, or Pablo Banchero or somebody like, or Trey Young or somebody like that, that's the only way you trade Devin Booker. But I don't think Phoenix is going to trade him. They'd be stupid if they did. Also, ladies and gentlemen, let me also get on the situation. It was 20 years ago when Indiana and Detroit had that big fight, the brawl in the Palace, where Jermaine O'Neal, Ron Artest, Steven Jackson, Ben Wallace, all were fighting with fans and things like that. This was it was Reggie Miller's last year in the NBA when it happened. Reggie Miller was injured that game when that happened. run a 10-foot in the crowd and punch the guy and things like that. He talks about this a lot. He said him and the guy is cool now. The guy that he punched is cool. Tremaine O'Neal two-piece somebody. Steven Jackson punched somebody. The Rumble in the Palace. It's still on YouTube too for everybody that wants to watch it. Well, last night the Detroit Pistons kind of went back to their old bad boy ways against the Timberwolves. Vincenzo, Nas Reed up against Isaiah Stewart and the guys from the Detroit Pistons. Let me say this. The Detroit Pistons have shocked the world because nobody thought that they were going to be this good this year. Cade Cunningham, Thompson, those boys have been playing basketball. Malik Beasley, Tobias Harris. They got a group of guys there that knows how to play. I think Jalen Ivey's there, if I'm not mistaken. They have a group of young guys that can play. And I will say this. Let me say something else too. What could be the potential first round matchup? The Detroit Pistons versus the Indiana Pacers. And I'm going to tell you right now, that series there is going to be very interesting. But I think Indy will probably win that in 6. Because the Pistons has got to learn how to win in the playoffs again. They have not been this good since the days of Rip, Big Shot Chauncey, Big Ben Wallace, and Big Rasheed Wallace. That was one of my favorite teams, man, 20 years ago, the Pistons. When they shocked the world and beat the Detroit Lakers, not the Detroit Lakers, I'm sorry, the Los Angeles Lakers with Kobe, Shaq, Gary Payton, and Karl Malone was on that team. And they went in there and beat them 4-1 in 5 games. Larry Brown had beaten Phil Jackson in the NBA Finals. There's not too many people, that has beaten Phil Jackson in the NBA Finals. Phil Jackson was undefeated when he was in Chicago. But Phil Jackson lost 2 when he was coaching the Lakers. And those 2 were to Larry Brown and Doc Rivers. So those 2 got a slim advantage over something that some of these other teams didn't do. Larry Bird never beat Phil Jackson in the playoffs and the finals. You know what I'm saying? Stan Van Gundy never beat Phil Jackson in the NBA Finals. But guess who did? Doc Rivers and Larry Brown. They were able to win. They were able to beat the Lakers in that mode, especially for a title. But the Detroit Pistons now are going to go in the playoffs. Congratulations to them because it had been some years they had struggled, and they finally got over the hump. They're going to be a playoff team this year. Cade Cunningham should be the most improved player this year. He should win that award. I think he deserves it. And I think he will be, considered as the most improved player because he does have the Detroit Pistons in a great position to be a playoff team, as well as J.D. Bickerstaff. I think he deserves to have a shot at Coach of the Year because he was able to take this team from being a nothing to being an absolute playoff contending team. They are in the playoffs. That means they can contend for a title, even though they're not going to win this year, but they are in the playoffs. So they are a playoff team. And that's what that is. Trae Young, 19-19, a great double-double. He had 19 assists to go at 19 points. Great win by Trae Young over the Milwaukee Bucks. Cleveland was able to bounce back again and beat the Clippers, even though the Clippers didn't have Kawhi Leonard. It was great. Kevin Durant got injured. So this is my thing right here. Let me say this. If I'm the Phoenix Suns organization, I shut KD down for the rest of the season. I don't let him play no more. I think last night is the last game that Kevin Durant's going to play in the Phoenix Suns uniform. If I'm them. Now, let me say what I'm going to say here. By any slim chance, the Phoenix Suns have a chance in the play-in to make the playoffs, and if Kevin Durant is healthy enough to play, I'm back out there. I'm putting it back out there. I don't know how you might feel about that, but I'm putting it back out there. And that might be the wrong take of what I'm saying, but if I'm the Phoenix Suns, if I know that we're not going to catch the Sacramento Kings, and I know that the Kings are probably going to be the team that gets in the play-in, gets the last spot to be in the play-in, to play or to have the 7 and 8 seed, guess what I'm doing? Let me tell you exactly what I'm doing. If Kevin Durant injury is not too bad, and I think it was, I think he's probably going to be out. But if I'm Kevin Durant and I'm looking at the situation, and if I see my team can have a shot at getting in the playoffs by playing in the play-in, I'm playing. But what's the risk? You're going to be playing up against either Houston or OKC in the first round. Suppose you get past all these teams and get to the playoffs. You get in as an 8 seed. You still got to deal with OKC and Houston, because those are the number 2, or Denver, because those are the 3 top teams right now in the division. So you're looking at and you're saying, do we just want to wing it to try to get in there, or do we shut it down? This is going to be a disappointing season for the Phoenix Suns either way, man. Because if they get in the play-in, they're going to get bounced in the first round by whoever they play. Whether they play Denver or whether they play Houston. They could possibly have a chance against Houston, because Houston is not, they're experienced, but they're not experienced all the way. But against OKC, no. KD's not winning that. Bill's not winning that. Booker's not winning that. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen at all. And that's just me, talking about what I see happening in Phoenix. Lakers and Rockets play tonight, a big game for us. Hopefully we can beat them tonight and make something happen, that we can go up a little bit in the rankings. I would love to see us get that third seed. I would love to see us get that, so we can play the second seed in the second round. But we're going to have to figure out a way to see if Denver can lose. That's the only way that's going to happen. They kind of talked about what happened with Taylor Jenkins. It wasn't office. It was the front office that got rid of Taylor Jenkins. It wasn't because of John Morant. It was because of the organization itself that let Taylor Jenkins go. If I'm Willie Green, I'm getting an interview as soon as the season's over with and try to become the new coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. I think Willie Green will fit the bill there just as well as they, if the Pelicans do, And I want to say something else about what's happening with the NBA. The season is still alive, guys. I know that a lot of teams are content with what they got going on, but the season is still alive. There's still teams out there fighting to get in the play-in. Teams like Miami on the east side, Miami, Atlanta, Miami, Orlando, those teams are still fighting for a shot to get in the play-in. For playing, I think Atlanta's up there a little bit, but Miami, Chicago, Orlando, those are the bottom teams in the East right now playing for a shot to get in the playoffs. So it's still basketball going on. Same way with the West. Minnesota, Sacramento, teams like that. They're still trying to fight to get in. Even Phoenix, even though they're not mathematically eliminated, but they're still trying to get there. They're like a game away from the Kings. So there's still basketball to be played, folks. There's still a lot on the line in the season. And that's just, a couple of things that I just want to share with everybody. Yes, the season is still hot. It's still fresh, even though it's almost over with, but it's still hot and it's still fresh. Also, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the NCAA tournament, both men and women. Let me start with the women first. Tonight is going to be UConn against USC. Let me tell y'all something. Paige played absolutely phenomenal today. She had 40 points. USC is not going to beat UConn without Juju playing. They're going to put up a fight. I think they're going to play great, but I think in the end they're going to be able to stop them. We know that Texas plays. Who beat LSU yesterday? Was it UCLA? Yeah, I think UCLA and Texas play tomorrow. I think they play. Booker has been playing great for Texas. She is a stud on the court. She's a beast. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. South Carolina barely beat Duke. Everybody thought that Duke was going to get blowed out, but Duke played them absolutely the best way they could, and they won by 4. So we'll see what happens in those games as well. Can Don Staley win another one? Also on the men's side, I'm sad. And I'll tell you why I'm sad. I'm sad because Michigan State got beat by the first time they've lost to an SEC team, which was Auburn, who's a better team in my book than we were. We played the best we could, but we just could not beat them. And again, we got to the Elite 8. We didn't get put out in the 64, didn't get put out in the 68, didn't get put out in the first 4. We got put out in the Elite 8. Maybe next year we'll play good enough to get to the Final 4. Then maybe next year we'll get back to the championship. That's the next move that we're trying to make as the Michigan State Spartans. Back to the girls for a minute. LSU lost. Let me tell you something. Flo played great. She played absolutely great. She played the best she could, but she just could not beat UCLA. That was just all to it. The team was just better. They were just better than LSU. And Kim Mulkey, who embarrassed the interviewer, just very rude the way she did that. And let me say this, and I watched that part of First Take, just glancing in on it, and they're absolutely right. If there would have been a man did that to a woman, then the story would have been way more terrible than it was what she did to him. She was absolutely out of line for what she said. Absolutely. I know you're frustrated. I know you're upset that your team lost. But come on. And this is another thing. They need to stop interviewing those people right after the game's over. The emotions are still high, whether you win or lose, especially when you lose. That's tough. And I know you got to give an interview, because if you don't give an interview, you're going to get fined. And that's just a part of the program. But she was very disrespectful to that dude, to the interviewer, and she was wrong for that. And I don't care what anybody says. I respect her as a coach. She's one of the best coaches out there in women's NBA, women's college basketball. But she was wrong for what she did. She was wrong for how she came at that guy. Absolutely wrong. Now, switching gears again, let's talk about something else, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about back to NCAA basketball. So now we have the Final Four. It's going to be Houston against Duke. Wow, that's going to be very interesting. And Auburn versus Florida. So my picks are still around because I did pick Houston to go to the championship. So if Houston wins the bracket, then I win the bracket. Now that Houston is still in there, I'm going for Houston. As much as I like Cooper Flagg, I don't like Duke, but I like Cooper Flagg as a player. Duke has some great players. But Houston, and this is the way they're going to have to beat them. Me and one of my homeboys were talking about this last night at the other job. I said this. I said that in order for Houston to beat Duke, and I'll talk about Alabama and their 25 threes as well. In order for Houston to beat Duke, I think Houston is going to have to put up 100 points, at least 90, to beat Duke. They're going to have to outscore them. That's the only way they're going to beat them. They're going to have to outscore Duke to win, to go to the championship. And I'm going for Houston. I want to see Houston and Auburn play for the title, or I want to see Houston and Florida play for the title. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as we get ready for March Madness is over. Now we get ready for the championship, which is going to take place next month in April. And we're almost in April because it's 31st. So, yeah, you guys get ready. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be an exciting ride for the NCAA tournament, both men's and women's divisions as they get ready to play for that as well. I think the NIT is still going on as well. Good to see some teams try to, win at the NIT as well. Let me get on to wrestling. I know wrestling comes on Netflix in about another 2 hours. I'm going to try to stay up to watch it. If not, I'm just going to have to catch the replay on Netflix later because I do need to get some rest, some sleep. But it's going to be interesting tonight. Raw, Cody, and of course Cody's going to be going up against, not going up against John, but they're going to do a face-to-face tonight on Raw in London. We're going to see Jimmy Uso versus Gunther. That's going to take place tonight as well. I don't know if the tag team champions of Raw are going to have a match. They need to. They need to start filling out this card just a little bit more. Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky for the women's title tonight with Bianca Belair as a special guest referee. You cannot tell me ain't no foolishness going to go on in that match. It's going to be absolutely some grade A foolishness that happens in that match tonight, folks. Just be prepared for it. Be prepared for it. And we'll see what else happens on Raw tonight as well. How they're going to fix this Intercontinental title situation. I think it's going to be a fatal four-way for the Intercontinental title. I could be wrong. I don't think we're going to see Penta versus Braun Breaker unless they decide to go at that match at Mania. But I just don't know if that's the matchup we're going to see at WrestleMania. I think we're going to have a fatal four-way. I think Dom and Finn are going to be in that match. I think you put Dom in this match and try to make a star out of him in that situation. All right. Tune in to Raw on Netflix in about 3 hours. 2 hours, excuse me. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a shout out to all the ladies, for this is the end of Women's Month, which is March. Congratulations to all the ladies of the world, whether you're a mother or a nurse or a doctor, lawyer, whatever your profession is. God bless you for doing what you do to try to make things just a little bit better for us knucklehead guys and everybody and your children as well. There's one lady that's very Pacific that I want to talk about. And she is one of the greatest, listen to me closely, one of the greatest women's basketball players of all time. And I'm not talking about Dawn Staley, because I heard that they talked about Dawn Staley. That's not who I'm talking about, folks. I am talking about Candace Parker. Yeah, Candace Parker. A 3-time WNBA champion. I think she's a 3-time Olympic gold medalist. A 2-time WNBA All-Star MVP. I think Candace Parker solidifies what women's basketball is all about. And no disrespect to Asia or Swing Cash or any of the other ladies, but Candace Parker gets her flowers from me from doing what she do. She's now in a male-dominant sport of broadcasting on TNT. I think she's gonna probably come to ESPN as well. I think, since Inside the NBA is gonna be going there, or she's gonna go to or gonna probably stay on NBA TV, one of the two. But I'm here to tell you all, Candace Parker, and I'm talking about her basketball-wise, was one of the greatest champions. I've never seen anybody play the game that she played. No disrespect to Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, Chelsea. Those girls, those women there are pioneers of the game, just as well as Candace Parker. And Tina Thompson, I'm not going to forget about her neither. But Candace Parker was absolutely phenomenal in the WNBA the year she played. She was great at what she did. She even won a championship in her last season, even though she got hurt in the end. But she was able to win. And I think she won a championship with 3 different teams. She won one with the Sparks, won one with the Chicago Skies, and won a championship with the Las Vegas Aces. So yes, Candace Parker. She gets my vote. She gets my recognition from her. I just want to say congratulations to Candace Parker, but not only to Candace Parker, to all the women in this month. Because I never want to go out without giving you girls, giving you ladies your flowers. I respect all of you ladies, even the ones that are in my personal life. I respect all of them. And for that, I'm going to leave it at that. And I'm going to say, God bless you. God keep you. You guys enjoy. Oh, one more thing before I get off. Man, those Yankees, man, they cutting up scoring, ain't they? Aaron Judge and them, they're doing their thing, man. The Yankees right now have the hottest bat in the game, and I know it's a different bat that they're using, but the Yankees are cutting up, ladies and gentlemen. And I know we're early in the season, but I want to see what they're going to do later on in this long season of baseball, because there's 182 games, I think, of baseball. And it's going to be going on all the way up until October. So we'll see what happens with that, man. But until then, you guys enjoy your Monday. This has been BDE 80, and this has been your point of view. God bless you.